All right, so we're going to do section 1.3, which can be found on page 15 in your book. And we're going to write expressions today. And if you remember back to the first section we did, first section 1.1 was evaluate expressions. So today, you're being asked to write them. So evaluating meant, here's x plus 3. Hey, what if x is negative 8? Well, it's negative 5, right? If you look at what today is, today you have to write that, meaning you're not even going to be given the expression. So that brings us to all of those words that we thought about when we first learned story problems in whatever, second or third grade. Add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And I want you to think about all the words that you associate with add, subtract, multiply, or divide. What's the main word? Like each one has like its main official, like the answer in an addition problem is called a sum. In a subtraction problem, it's called a difference. Multiplication answer is called, what is it? Product, good. And this last one is always one everybody forgets. Quotient, good. Okay, give me some more that you know. Like words you associate with certain operations. Kyle. Of, good. That's one of the ones that people forget. So in other words, like 3/4 of 12 means I want to know what 3/4 of 12 is and multiply it. Okay, Jordan. Great. Increased by and decreased by. What are some basic words? Plus and minus. How about, not too many for division. Let's say divided by or divided into. Amelia? Times is good old-fashioned times. Ashik? A fraction bar, but would mean divide, but we don't use the word fraction to mean divide, but that's a good one. Okay, there's a couple more I'm thinking of. Times could also just say multiply. How about more than or less than? Okay, most of these are pretty self-explanatory. I want to spend a little bit more time on the more than or less than. Just because it's kind of something that might screw you up here. If I were to say, show me what 4 more than A is, write the expression. Obviously, more than means plus, so we're going to need a plus sign. And my question is it 4 plus A or A plus 4? What do you think, Dylan? Either one is going to give you the same answer when I give you a substitution of a value for A, but there is a right or wrong way. Yeah. It's A plus 4. And here's why I want you to think about that. Because if you have 4 more than something, wasn't there already an amount there first for 4 to be more than? So it's almost like you think about this plus 4 here, and A has to be before it. Okay, and I know what Dylan said, because if I say A is 6, you're going to get 10 for each answer. But what if I say less than? Would it be the truth then? What if I say 4 less than A? Is 4 minus A going to give me the same answer as A minus 4? No. So we have to keep that order straight for both the subtraction and the addition, regardless of whether or not it's going to give us the same answer. So obviously, if A is 6 here, this is going to give us a negative 2 as opposed to a positive 2. So be real careful. It's kind of like these are going to have to flip-flop around when it's for the words more than or less than, okay? All right, so now we're going to start by translating some phrases into expressions, which means I'm going to give you the word and you're going to translate it for me. So if I say 4 less than the quantity 6 times a number. And then ask you to write the expression for that. And the words the quantity is really important in this, because if I were to take that out and just say 4 less than 6 times a number, how do you know if it's 4 less than 6 times a number or 4 less than 6 in parentheses times a number? Do you see the difference? So that's why when they say the quantity 6 times a number, and I want 4 less than that. So where does that 4 have to go? Good. Okay. How about 3 times the sum of 7 and a number y? So 3 times a sum. So what's the sum of 7 and y? And when they say sum, what you are to do is to write it in the order that you see it. So here's the sum of 7 and y. And how would I show 3 times a quantity? No, I don't want to do cubed. Jordan. Parentheses. I want to take this whole thing, see, Autumn, and multiply it by 3. I can't just put the times 3 at the end, because then it would just be multiplying the y by the 3. Okay? How about this one? The difference of 22 and the square of m. A little bit of writing this time. The difference of 22 and the square of m. And remember what I said about sum. When it says just sum and difference, you got to go with the order that it's given. So where does 22 belong? In the beginning? Here's the difference of 22 and what? M squared, the square of m. You got it. What's that?
In high school, we called her
M squared, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. There you go. M squared. Yep. Okay, how about this? The quotient. When, this one's a little trickier, the quantity 10 plus x is divided by 2. The quotient. So as soon as you hear that, I want you to pretend like, well, you don't need to pretend. You're in 8th grade algebra, not 6th grade math. You do not need to use this little baby symbol for division anymore, right? We know what symbol we use, and that's what? A fraction bar. And now what am I dividing by what? The quantity? Good. 10 plus x is being divided by 2. You got it. 2 short examples left. So we're going to talk about a verbal model. As soon as you hear the words verbal model, you know that you're going to be dealing with some type of a story problem, okay? Because all of this stuff means nothing to you. This does not mean that it was $6 per notebook minus the coupon that you use. This has no stories going along with it. But verbal models do, okay? So when you hear, write a verbal model, we're going to talk about what that means. So let's say you have a piece of ribbon, and this ribbon is 8 feet long. Okay, so I have one person holding one end and 8 feet from the other person, they're holding another end, and I walk up with a pair of scissors and I go snip, and I snip a piece of ribbon, and I take that piece of ribbon and I put it in my pocket. Write me an expression that could represent the amount of ribbon that's still left. And I don't know about you, but hearing it isn't enough for me. I need to see it. How many of you are picture people? I wrote Yeah. So here's a piece of ribbon, and it's 8 feet long. And I walk up and I say, I snip it right there. And I take this, and that length is L, isn't it? I take L feet. So we'll say I snip L feet. How many feet did I take? I don't know. L. Could be 2, could be 3. So what is an expression to show the amount of ribbon that's left over? And don't overthink it. It's way easier than you think. That's what somebody last hour said. Well, that was easy. Shake. 8, yeah. Yeah, you don't even need to say the word feet. It's literally just 8 minus L. So if here to here is 8, and I just took L away from it, it's just 8 minus L. Real simple, okay? All right, another example, and this is more true to what a verbal model really is. When you, my son used to work at Ramshorn, and he as a busboy, and he used to have to share tips. You know what that means? Like if there's 5 busboys on shift that night, all the tips that you get, you have to put into a jar, and then you split them evenly, which kind of could stink sometimes, right? Because if you're really good and somebody likes you, or your mom or dad come in, they tip you like a $10 bill. You got to put that 10 in the jar and split it with everybody. Okay? So let's say that you and 5 of your friends are going to an ice cream place. All right? So how many people are going to an ice cream place? 6, because it's you and 5 of your friends. And all of the workers, actually you're not going, you're working there. You put your tips in the jar and you split it up equally. Write me an expression that would show how much money each person's going to get. So I know you are already thinking, oh, all you do is divide by 6. Let's talk about what the verbal model will give you. If I let A equal the amount of money in the jar, then don't you take the amount in the jar and divide it by the number of people that worked that shift? Isn't that all you do? This is a verbal model. It helps you kind of as an in-between step get to your real answer. And now, what did I use to stand for the amount of money in the jar? A. What number represents the number of people that worked? 6. Now, let's talk about this. Could you have arrived at A over or divided by 6 without this verbal model? Yeah, probably. But there are going to be some problems that get a little trickier, and these verbal models are really going to help out. Okay? That's it. Do you understand? Okay, we're going to buzz through a few of these. On page 18, you're going to go 1 through 21, except today you're going to go all instead of odds, just because you can pretty much fly through them. Still check your odds to make sure you're doing it right. And we'll check this over on Monday. Deal? Okay. You're all set. Switch user. How do you do this switch user? We're in the tower. I'm just like,